Word to brothers and sisters, welcome back to Haiku. I do, and you know it's about good hip hop music, man. Now, in today's album review, I'm checking out a project by Wordz, and he dropped the project in October 2021. And at the time, the album was pleasantly received, but it was kind of unexpected because it came at the backdrop of him falling out with the crew, with Aries and them. So I think a lot of people were not expecting Wordz to be able to put together a project by himself, or that he could actually rap and even act. But I guess that's life sometimes. We do get to discover most of like what we're able to do and who we are when things are actually falling apart. So the name of the project is called Product of a Praying Mother. And yeah, without wasting any more time, man, let's get straight into the review. Now, kicking off with the features, on a track called 33 Chambers, we've got a feature by Desi Hines, who is an American rapper. I think he's from Brooklyn. I didn't know about him until I actually listened to this project. And if you don't know him, it's fine. I don't think we're really missing out on much there. He came through with a verse, and it's an okay verse. Kind of sounds like J. Jody. And to be quite frank, I think J. Jody would have given us a more solid verse, if I'm being honest. And then on the same song, we also have Tato Soul. And if you know Tato, man, Tato, I think the more I listen to him, the more I feel like he's kind of in this certain pocket, right? Like there's this cadence that he gets into that he can't really switch up, and I don't know, for some reason, maybe it's because, I haven't listened to him that much, so I'm still not over it, so every time I hear Tato, it's like, it's always a vibe for me, so yeah, he definitely came through there on that song. I think he's got my favorite verse on that song. And then on a song called My Dice, we've got Maclera Doughboy. Maclera with the features, man. He does what he does when it comes to features. And I actually like the concept of the song because what they do is they both start their verses by saying numbers. And I'm not sure if these numbers are like from the game My Dice, or these are house numbers from where they come from, or maybe their area codes, to the areas that they come from. But I just like the whole concept of that song, and the song kind of has some depth to it that I can't really explain, but I really mess with the song there. And of course, Maclera definitely has the better verse there for me. And then on a track called Cops and Robbers, where it features Aries. Well, it's called Cops and Robbers, but I call it the 5-year plan 2.0, because it sounds like the second version of that Aries song. And yeah, Aries does what he does best there, and Wordz also does what he does best, which is to mimic Aries when he's on a song with him, and then we've got a song called Garden of Eden, track 8, and Wordz features Mali. Mali is a songstress, beautiful songstress. I think she comes all the way from Alexandra, which is the same township that Marcus Harvey comes from. I actually wonder if they do have a song together. If they don't, I think it would be dope for them to have a song together. But yeah, that's a beautiful feature right there. Mali really colors that song beautifully with her vocals. And then we've got a track called Future Plans, where Wordz features Bello Salo. And if you know Bello Salo, what he does, man, he's very gifted with the vocals. And I think Bello Salo is actually a play on his real name, which is Sabelo. Bello Salo. I think he plays on his actual name there. But yeah, definitely came through there. He did the things, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the features. Now, when it comes to the storytelling and the bars, the problem that I have with Wordz is that he's a melodic rapper, right? And what that means is that his raps are very spaced out. So when they're very spaced out, he's not able to fit in as much as he can into his raps. So what happens is, if he tries to tell a story, he doesn't tell you the whole story, because there's a lot of gaps in his raps, and he tries to fill those gaps in with melodies, which sometimes is a good thing, and sometimes I don't think, because if you look at this whole album, there's not even one solid verse from Wordz in this whole album. And when I say verse, I mean like a whole 16 bars. There's not even one solid verse from Wordz here. Everything is just largely vibes. If you look at Seskhuluke Zaga, okay, that's the intro. King of the Jungle sounds like an intro as well. Lost Souls, I mean, if you combine everything he says there, you might come out with a verse. On 33 Chambers, he only gives us 8 bars. Then on Madais with Maglera, it's the spacing that he does. It doesn't make his verse feel like it's complete. It doesn't make it feel whole. And on Cops and Robbers, okay, it's mostly just vibes there, so I wasn't expecting a solid 16. Flawless sounds like an interlude. Garden of Eden and Future Plans are actually supposed to be love songs, right? Where he's supposed to be telling us about his relationship with his girlfriend. But because, like I said, he doesn't actually write, like he doesn't really get into the storytelling because there's a lot of spacings. He doesn't tell the whole story. So it's 2 love songs, but you really still don't know what's really going on there, you know. And then you've got The Next Investment, which sounds like an interlude. Product 99 also sounds like an interlude. And then By Mother Mary, which is the last song, is basically the mother, you know, giving him a short prayer. So if you look at the whole album, there's not even one solid verse from Wordz. So yeah, he really did a R. Kelly here, because these are not even 16s, you know, if we're being honest. So when it comes to the content, I would really have to give it a 5 out of 10. And even the 5, I think it's largely coming from the features, because I feel like he got the features to do most of the heavy lifting when it comes to the, you know, the storytelling and the bars. So I'll have to give it a 5 out of 10, because his best performance for me on this whole album is actually on the song Future Plans with Bello Salo. And even there, he's actually singing and not rapping, you know. So yeah, definitely have to give it a 5 out of 10. Now, when you look at the production on the album, I think the production is actually the highlight of the whole project for me, because Wordz went for, you know, the dynamic duo, Mash Beats alongside Logical Rhymes. You know, I mean, those two already seen what they can do on projects like Fire in the Water, Triple TM as well. So, you know, I think 1 or 2 songs are also produced by IMP The Don. And I mean, we've seen this formula work before, you know, so you know we expect quality, you know, we expect good mixing, good mastering. And I like the fact that some of the samples that they used for this project, you know, they sampled a lot of old R&B songs, you know, I think like from the 60s and stuff like that. So which kind of ties in with the whole product of a praying mother, you know, so the production is very soulful. It's very grounded, you know, so I really love the production on this album. There are 1 or 2 songs that for me they give me mixtape vibes. I wouldn't, like, personally I wouldn't put them like on an album, you know. Songs like King of the Jungle, you know, the production there, even the song Flawless, you know, when I listen to those songs, I think on a mixtape, especially King of the Jungle, it sounds like it would be a dope intro for a mixtape. But yeah, if you overlook that, because I mean they're not bad songs, you know, so if you overlook that, you know, the production overall on this project for me is very good. I think I'd have to give it a 9 out of 10. Now, if we look at the replay value of the project, for me, if you remove King of the Jungle, the replay value gets a 10, you know, because you've got about 12 tracks here. I mean, most of them barely make it to like 3 or 4 minutes, you know, so it's a very short listen, which I think is okay, because I mean, if he had more songs in here, I think it would give us more to criticize Wordz with. So I think it kind of sits on a right, you know, sweet spot. The production does a very good job of carrying it through. You know, the features really hold it very well. So, you know, you play the project and it pretty much ends before you expect it to end, because, you know, sonically, I think, you know, most of the project actually makes quite a lot of sense. So when it comes to the replay value on this project, I think I'll have to give it a solid 9 out of 10. Does the album actually have a concept? Yeah, the album has a basic concept. So you've got Wordz, who is a product of a praying mother, and that's the title of the album, you know, product of a praying mother. And on the album cover, we've got what looks like a painting of Wordz being carried by his mother, and it looks like they're outside. I don't know whether it's the house that he was born in or a house that he was raised in, but you know, that's the impression that I'm getting just from looking at the album cover. So it's basically a basic concept. Now, does the music tie up to the concept of the album? I think yeah, it definitely does. The music really does tie in. I mean, if you look at tracks like, okay, the last track on the album is called By Mother Mary, which is a prayer by his mother, which is set on a very beautiful piano piece there. So you've got that, as closing off the whole album, and then you've got a song called Product 97, which Wordz was born in 1997, so he's a product of 97. And you've got songs like Future Plans and Garden of Eden, which are basically love songs to his girlfriend, right? Because he was spending a lot of time at home, subsequent to the COVID and the crew falling out. He was at home a lot, so he was spending a lot of time with his mother, a lot of time with his girlfriend, so he's got love songs for her there as well. And then you've got a song My Dice, which, like I said, it kind of plays on the whole numbers thing, and everyone is talking about where they're from and their neighborhoods. So it's got a very homely feeling to it, and I feel like Wordz was able to capture that, not just with the production, but the kind of storytelling. He was able to capture the essence of spending time at home and basically being with your loved ones. Even though it does sound like some of the songs were recorded before he actually moved back home, and while he was still with the crew, and then when the whole thing happened and he was now spending a lot of time at home, he kind of decided to pivot the whole concept of the idea to being a product of a praying mother, because he was spending time at home now. So yeah, for me, definitely the music ties in very, very well with the whole concept of the album. So for me, the album is very good in terms of sonically. It's very musical, it's very soulful, but I don't think that it's a good debut album, right? Because for me, a debut album is, you're supposed to show us what you can do as a solo artist, right? You're supposed to go out there and experiment, give us sounds that we haven't heard before, because there's no reputation that comes before you. You don't have anything to live up to. So you're supposed to really go out there and try and experiment, try to do something that identifies you as a unique artist. And I feel like Wordz didn't do that with this project. I feel like here he basically went very, very safe. He went for a formula that he already knows is going to work. He went for an existing blueprint. He went to mash beats with logical rhymes. He already knows that production is going to be solid. He's seen it work before, with products, with projects with A-Reese and them. So he's already seen that combination, how it works. The song Cops and Robbers, it's a song based on the same concept as A-Reese's 5-year plan. In fact, I think he saw how big that song was, especially if you consider that concert, the Cotton Fest performance. I mean, that was monumental. So he saw the impact of that. He decided to do his own version called Cops and Robbers. And then the song, The Next Investment, he uses the same sample that A-Reese used on Hibachi, which was another, big song from A-Reese's Triple TM. So I feel like he really basically went into A-Reese's toolbox, when he came with this project, because there's so much that, and the thing about Wordz is he's a very talented rapper. I know that he can actually do it on his own, but I feel like he decided not to cut the umbilical cord, and I really wanted to see him just cut that umbilical cord, stay out of that A-Reese blueprint, go out there, try and carve a unique identity in terms of who is Wordz. I feel like, for me, I'm still waiting for a debut album, a proper debut album from Wordz. And yeah, this one sounds like a collaborative effort for me. It sounds like a group project. It sounds like Wordz was basically just conducting a whole orchestra of talented musicians, and to let other people come and out-rap you on your own rap album, it's not acceptable. So I really want to see Wordz give me a solid debut project. But apart from that, like I said, musically it's a very good album. Yeah, I think that's the end of my review for this project by Wordz called Product of a Praying Mother. And yeah, the vibes, man. Take care of your mental, and peace, love. I'm out of here.